We have a couple of guests that we're looking to help us unbundle the issues. Now joining us to further unbundle the story of ultimatum given by Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, which the Governors Forum seem to say is not really an ultimatum. So the Fulani herdsmen. We have in our Lagos studios EBUN ADEGBORUWA, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Kadaria Ahmed, a journalist, a media entrepreneur, and founder of both Daria Media and Radio Now, broadcasting on 95.3 FM in Lagos. Let's start with you, Kadaria. I'm sure you must have seen actually, let us go to the lawyer first. You spoke against the federal government in criticizing Governor Akeredolu for issuing the ultimatum. So let's ask you first, Mr. ADEGBORUWA. What's your thought about what you heard the governor say? Is that your understanding of the statement previously assigned to the governor of Ondo State?
Very much, Kaude and viewers. I believe that the event that happened in Akure, Ondo State today is a reflection of the mood of the nation, the need for peace, and the need for tensions to go down, and for parties to embrace dialogue as a means of resolving issues that seems to have stoked the tensions in the past 1 week. It's quite reassuring that the governors embraced the opportunities that presented themselves for dialogue. But of course, we must encourage their excellencies to stand up for their people. The states of the Federation of Nigeria are autonomous entities created by the Constitution to bring governance closer to the people. So our leaders, and I'm talking about governors, should square up to defend the people, to ensure that they assert their authorities under the Constitution as the chief security officer of their states, and do not give room for any criminal to turn their forests or any location within their states to breed crime, kidnapping, or whatsoever may not augur well for peaceful coexistence. I'm a little bit worried that His Excellency seemed not to want to agree that there was an ultimatum, which we heard the governor of Ondo State issued some days back. I think it's to say that all is well that has ended well. But we must salute the courage of the governor of Ondo State in particular, and also the courage of the young man, Mr. Igboho, who has brought this issue onto the front burner, and also condemn the hasty reactions from the presidency that seems to give the impression that there was a preference for a particular sector of the part of the crisis. But I'm glad that as we speak now, peace has returned to the area that was affected. Thank you.
Well, we'll come back to you, but let's have a quick conversation with Kadaria here now. And, let's talk about your reaction really to what the governor had said. Speaking about FIME, he says, you know what, all the governors, that's most of the governors, but especially the ones from the Southwest today, had that meeting, and eventually they all agreed to push forward, seeking peace. But some have actually argued that what happened today is what should have happened from the beginning. What are your thoughts really from the outcome and what the chairman of the Governors Forum had said today?
So I think they did the right thing in terms of ensuring that Nigeria couldn't continue to persist in ethnic profiling. Unfortunately, though, the problem that we're facing in Nigeria of insecurity is not going to go away. It is a problem that we need to actually tackle head on. I think we're seeing failures of leadership by the president, people in the presidency, failure of leadership by the governors, and multiple tiers of leadership in this country are failing to secure their people. I come from Zamfara State, And so I understand very well the sort of fears that the people of the Southwest are experiencing. We saw what started happening in the Northwest, and it started small and it then escalated. And it escalated because the federal government basically and state governors ceded their authority. They no longer have the monopoly on violence. People are resorting to self-help. I am absolutely clear that there's no room in dealing with this problem for ethnic profiling. I am Fulani, and I take great exception to anybody putting me in the sort of same basing as kidnappers and people who rape and kill people. So I appreciate the reason why this meeting was necessary, because there was a real possibility that these things were going to escalate. Ethnic profiling doesn't take anybody anywhere. It's weird that actually as Nigerians, when we see it in South Africa, leading to the killings of Nigerians who are sort of dubbed criminals or gangsters, we go against it. When we see it against our black brothers in America, when they talk about all black people are criminals, we go against it. But somehow, when it is done in Nigeria, we accept it. The problem I have is that I do not think that saying people should stop ethnic profiling will necessarily solve our problem of insecurity. And I haven't heard anything today from Governor Fayemi, from the statement, that tells me that we are treating security with the urgency that it deserves. It is the single biggest threat to this country right now, okay? And if you do not deal with it decisively, then we're going to come back here again in 3 weeks. And unfortunately, when people are scared, the first reaction is to go after people who are different from you. You do an othering. That's what it is called. You start looking for scapegoats and who to blame. You don't focus on the fact that there are criminals to be found among all people. So my concern is that I'm not convinced that I've heard anything that says that this problem is going to be tackled and tackled effectively.
Okay, so Kadaria, you just said that you're from Zamfara State, and we know that there's been some amount of banditry in Zamfara State. Would you be happy if your governor says that, well, we're not ethnic profiling, and yet nobody has been caught, and there's going to be some kind of peace because there is a peace negotiations with both the bandits and those who are not?
So he is right. Kayode, you cannot say because there's banditry that you're going to look at a whole group of people, millions of people, and say that they are the problem. In fact, some of the greatest victims of kidnapping, banditry, cattle rustling are other Fulanis. If you look at the top 10 states, according to SBM intelligence reports that have been issued, that are the victims of kidnapping, banditry, and killings as a result of kidnapping, not one southwestern state has made it to that list. I think the only southern state that is actually in that list is Delta. And I suspect that has more to do with robbery and things like cultism and all of that. So the point I am making is part of the problem, part of the reason we have problems dealing with some of the issues that face us as a country is that we are incapable of nuance. We actually don't know how to take a problem and break it into pieces and understand where the issues are. We like easy answers. Unfortunately, Nigeria is too complex and too complicated for easy answers. And we have allowed our problems to also become complex and complicated. And so work needs to be done. It's lazy to say Fulani people are all kidnappers. Let's all kick all of them out. Not only is it lazy, it is very dangerous, because that is how genocide happens. This is part of a genocide playbook, when you ethnic profile a people and you say that they are responsible for everybody's ills. People start making up stories. So while we are saying you cannot do that, we are also saying at the same time, you can also not ignore the legitimate concerns of people who've lost, you know, family to kidnappers,
the issues
had their livelihoods destroyed.
You know, a lot of Nigerians will want to agree with you where, you know what, we have to go and find the root causes to these issues really before we can say that we're finding some sort of solution. But in less than a minute, as we wrap up this conversation, let me go to EBUN ADEGBORUWA now. Do you agree with Kadaria that says we haven't really gone to the root to really find this issue? And have we really identified the real issues at stake in this matter, or are we simply trimming the leaves and leaving the root causes?
I think that from analyzing analyzing the events happening all over the country, unemployment, the issue of lack of infrastructure, lack of opportunities, things that are pushing our youths to leave Nigeria, are things that our governors and leaders should look into. And I think part of resolving this is to strengthen the local security networks, whether in Amotekun, whether in neighborhood security or Eastern Security Network or Miyetti, whatever name they are called. We should find opportunities to engage our people in taking responsibility for their own security and not depend on Abuja, not depend on the state headquarters. Whatever opportunities exist for our people to contribute towards their own safety, they should take it as an initiative, as is being done in Ibarapa, as is being done in other parts of Nigeria, where people take their destiny into their hands. Like Kadaria has said, unfortunately, His Excellency didn't address the solutions that could bring some kind of comfort to our people from the meeting that took place today. So I think that being the first time of such engagement, they should take it to the next level of ensuring that there's a continuous dialogue that will lead to a permanent solution of the issues that have been identified.
EBUN ADEGBORUWA, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as well as Kadaria Ahmed, who is a journalist as well as a media entrepreneur, the founder of Radio Now 95.3 FM. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program.